Hello, I'm here with A Shield for Men and Alex Cat, and I'm Mr. Pink and
Hello.
Yellow, and we're replying to hello, and we're replying to like space. What's his name? Space Guy or something?
The antisocial contract or something?
Yes,
Yeah.
antisocial
Yes, the
contract.
antisocial contract. Yes. What? Yes. So, there's some disagreement about how we run the Promo Collective, and about a gatekeeping, and about the nonsense that we keep out from our spaces, right? And the antisocial contract, no offense, but you just like set the world record for straw manning. So I feel like this deserves a reply. Yes.
Yeah.
So
And yeah, this is important because we have to make clear and basically lay down the law on what our movement is supposed to achieve actually, and how it is effective, right? And the
yes,
antisocial contract, he's basically an AnCap, and
yes,
he's gonna reply to us from that mindset, right?
yes,
And
yes,
yeah, so we have to differentiate between ideas that are helpful and ideas that are not helpful.
yes.
Yeah,
So let's start playing it.
Hello, YouTube. I'm back for another video. I guess it's another check-in video with a bit of a retrospective and a suggestion of what's to come. Don't quite have the confidence to call it a promise, but we'll see how things shake out. Because, we've been here before, haven't we? But if you haven't,
Pause.
if you're new,
Yes.
So we're listening to a thing because you're going to say something that I want to reply to. So there's a bit of rambling here. There's a bit of a preamble, but there's a part of the preamble I want to reply to. So I think it's important that I reply to it. But carry on playing.
here, welcome. This channel, I've labeled it the Antisocial Contract. And if you're curious about where that name comes from and generally what this is all about, I made a video with the same title. Imagine that. And used to be called Spacepan. Many people probably are aware of this channel because I was one of the co-hosts of the Gatriarchy podcast, hosted by the late
Pause. So I've noticed this lame thing that some right wingers do with the patriarchy label. They validate it sarcastically,
Yes.
right?
yeah.
It's
Yes.
just lame and
There's a Twitter
cringe.
account. Yes, the patriarchy is just cringe. So it's a label used to dehumanize us and smear us as abusive oppressors. It's not a joke. It's not funny. But anyway, let's carry on.
Prince of Queens. So, there's a bit of a history, a bit of a deep lore to this channel, but we're kind of looking to move forward into 2025 to make it a bit of a reunion. I say it's like our 10-year reunion, right, for the beginning of a lot of this red pill manosphere stuff, a lot of it concurrently kind of growing with Gamergate, right? Obviously, there's a number of arguments.
Yes.
This is very important. We're not red pill. We're not part of the manosphere, and we're not nothing to do with Gamergate. And Gamergate's a completely failed movement, a massive failure, right? Feminist intrusion in gaming is a lot stronger than ever, right? It's a failure. Now we're gonna have to resurrect the original Black Pill blog, Omega Virgin Revolt, okay? Because he deconstructed the manosphere and he ripped it to shreds. The manosphere is toxic. It is anti-male. It's just as anti-male as feminists, and the manosphere is still kept around as a false threat narrative punching bag, right? Useful idiots to smear men's issues with, okay? Right?
Yeah,
And the women useful idiots as
feminists,
well.
yeah, feminists probably love the manosphere. They use it to attack men all the time.
Well, the feminists coined the manosphere term, and the manosphere it was a toxic label, and the manosphere ran with it. Oh, you give us a toxic label. Oh, we're proud of it. We'll run with it because they're fucking losers, right? So we're
Yeah,
not red pill. We're not black pill. We're not the manosphere. We reject the manosphere. Keep your manosphere shit away from us. Your movement is a complete and utter failure. It's failed. And it's anti-male. Their tradcons and prominent manospherians have proclaimed again and again that they're against men's rights. We're not interested, and you're not going to hijack a movement because you're looking for people to recruit. Look elsewhere.
Agreed.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
You could make as to where
let's
you
press
draw
play.
that line. But generally, I think, hey, why not call it here? Why not call it a 10-year reunion? Place it right on 2015 and the 2025. I think that's catchy. That's easy to remember. In favor of the rounded number, that's where I'm drawing it. And because I happen to have more of the clarity and motivation to, I think, have a real comeback at this time. But we'll see. So, one major development in this sphere that I noticed over the past few years, to me, I kind of became focused on a few channels specifically, which would be City Crusher, A Shield for Men, and Mr. Pink and Yellow. And they kind of had a bit of a shared project, kind of going around slaying a lot of sacred cows within anti-feminism, and it's quite refreshing. And I think that it's worthwhile to re-examine a lot of these things, to maybe put on a different cap and think about things in another way. I think that City Crusher, has actually really cut through a lot of bullshit and led to a lot of clarity in a lot of these ideas. Certainly, for me, it's caused me to rethink maybe a few things.
Pause. Sorry. Okay, so I want to explain the historical context of this. So there's men's rights, there was MGTOW, and they all hit dead ends. We are the evolution of those failed movements, right? Okay, so we were people in the MGTOW movement mostly, and we saw what a dead end it was. And around 2014, 2015, the pro-male movement was made. And I didn't actually create the pro-male movement, really. Well, it maybe I did. It's hard to say. I didn't create the first pro-male group, right? It was a Google Plus group run by someone else. And I joined it, but I made all the major content, new content. And I bounced around ideas with Eric Schindler and a few other pro-male men, right? And those other people I talked to who never publicly spoke out against MGTOW, but they had problems with it and they left MGTOW. And I started speaking out against it. I started speaking about men's issues. I was very fiercely anti-tradcon, and I noticed the tradcon infiltration, and I was trying to keep MGTOW pure from tradcons. But then I realised MGTOW is actually tradcon, right? So it was a lost cause trying to keep it pure of traditionalism, because it's like trying to keep Nazism pure from fascism. No, they're both one and the same thing. MGTOW was a tradcon movement, so we are the evolution of those dead movements. That's the historical context. Okay.
We'll kind of see how that shakes out, as I have various new videos and topics. But for now, I want to focus on, I guess, the major impetus for this video, or I guess maybe a straw. I wouldn't say a straw that broke the camel's back, really just an opportunity for, I think, clearing the air and figuring out what we're all doing and why, and kind of understanding where some of the sort of perennial or evergreen disagreements are. So City Crusher at one point banished me from his Discord because I got into too much of a long fight with a communist. And I'll speak more to that.
Okay, City Crusher told me why he banned you. You're too obsessed with right-wing politics, and you was told to knock it off, and you didn't listen. So he was looking to hijack and make it about your libertarian and anarcho-capitalism reactionary politics, right? And you was warned. I'm not in the group, so I don't know for sure. This is what he just told me, right? And that's why he booted you. So you didn't listen, and we actually don't want it, because we actually are a left-wing movement fundamentally. I don't mind having moderate conservatives or even conservatives in my group, as long as they're not trying to hijack, and as long as they're pro-male. But anything beyond that, I think it's actually impossible for someone like that to be truly pro-male, right?
Yeah.
Because,
And also the original men's rights movement actually was pretty much left leaning. When you look at one of the earliest ones, Ernest Belfort Bax, and we have to approach things from a class issue, right? men are the oppressed class and women are the oppressors. That's really the dynamic. And right-wing politics in general is just too focused on individualism and lifestyle advice and status chasing, right?
Yes,
And
it's
that's really the problem.
and right wing politics is like deranged. It's all about scapegoating as well, and fixating on irrelevant things all the time.
Yeah.
They're obsessed with communists and Marxists, even though there is literally no communism in the Western world whatsoever. Almost no communism, almost zero influence. A tiny bit in academia, maybe in certain spheres, but they got no cultural influence.
I wouldn't even
They're
say
crushed
in
and defeated.
academia.
Well, a little bit. There's some prominent Marxists who've got a bit of prestige, but they're not promoting Marxism, right? So I'm saying
Yeah.
just a little bit. I'm not going to deny
Yeah.
100%, but they've got no political influence at all. So they're basically blaming the dysfunctions of capitalism on communism. All the problems we face right now as men worldwide, almost worldwide, is due to capitalism. Period. This is a capitalist problem.
Yeah, it's feminism is capitalism, right?
Yes, and capitalism is feminism, and fascism is just capitalism in decay. Therefore, feminism is fascism. There you go.
Alright, I'll carry on
Okay,
playing.
let's carry on playing.
Later,
Yes.
Mr. Pink and Yellow, he actually made a proper video about me. He was like, "Oh yeah, you think that you can just be a capitalist and that that's help a man without the government? You think you can do that? Yeah." Like, he's super funny. I love his.
Yes.
Okay, I don't remember making that video. I don't remember making a reply video to you. Maybe I replied to one of your comments when you was named someone else. I don't remember you, right? And capitalism is status, right? Capitalism and state are intertwined. There's no such thing as capitalism outside of the state. Okay, so I wouldn't have said anything like that. Okay, and I'm all for advocating for men's rights under capitalism. You advocate for men's rights under communism. You advocate for under communism. You advocate for under feudalism, right? Whatever system you live under, you should advocate for men's rights. Okay, but free market fanatic solutions, right, do not address men's issues, and it is free market fanaticism, free market fundamentalism, right?
Yeah,
Brain rot.
yeah. They always go on about like how the market is gonna solve this issue or how things are gonna self-correct. Like right wingers have this mentality that things are just gonna magically self-correct. It's the same with the artificial womb, which he's gonna get into later, right?
Yes,
This
yes.
is the passive, meek loser mentality. That
Yes.
there's no revolutionary spirit to it.
You know, artificial womb is like, let's wait for technology to fix all our problems. When the
Okay, let's carry on playing.
Yeah.
problem is men's behavior, not technology.
Speech pattern. It's a little. I don't know. I wish he'd calm the fuck down a tiny bit, but maybe not. Maybe I don't think I want that. I'm not sure. That video in particular is.
So I have been like Volalond has called me aggressive. He called me Malvin aggressive, and some people have called me Malvin aggressive. Right? It might just be my speech patterns, okay, but it's just the way I speak. Yeah, right. So I'm not most of the. I can sort of be. I don't take bullshit. I don't take gaslighting very well, so I just call it out. So I might be a bit too blunt for some people's tastes, but I don't really care. And look, I've had two different diagnoses as well, right? So I had one that said I had autism, and I had another one that said I didn't. So I'm sort of probably on the cusp, one way or the other. Maybe I'm a bit of a borderline case. Who knows? So it might be, maybe I speak funny because of that. I don't know, and I don't particularly care because I do think I'm perfectly articulate. So I think what you did is a bit of a low blow, in a way, because whatever. I'm not going to sink. I'm not going to sink to your level. I could say certain things like your speech pattern if I wanted to, but I won't sink to that level. Come on, let's carry on playing.
Kind of the definition of not an argument, but that also I can get into later because it's related to the former. But most contemporaneously, I guess most relevant, it's just yesterday, a Shield for Men uploaded a video that prominently featured my detraction from a post that he had made the day prior to that. And it was a post. He had 3 copes within the manosphere. First one there was that Middle Eastern women are oppressed. That's bullshit. No disagreement there. Thank you so much for stating that again. Obviously, within the anti-feminist realm, we're kind of like the first ones to realize that and then being able to state it. But we are carrying the weight of all of humanity. So none of us have said it enough, no matter how many times we have. So I do sincerely thank you for drawing attention.
Okay, most anti-feminists believe women in the Middle East are oppressed, right?
Yes, I was about to say that. Like, yeah, when you look at the men's rights Reddit, which is the biggest men's rights group, like most of the time comments come up, oh, but women in Afghanistan, though, or something like that. It always comes up.
Yeah. Yes.
Shall we carry on playing?
Mm-hmm.
To that,
yes,
it doesn't get said enough. The fact that it doesn't get said enough doesn't get said enough. So we're making up for that quota as well. But the other 2 points, I had something to say about. The second one was the artificial uteri and how it's going to solve all of our problems, right? Now, the artificial uteri is going to be an incredible boon to all of humanity, male or female.
But not.
That's just a fact. That's just a given fucking fact. I could go further into that, but...
Okay, so we can't even take care of the kids we're raising now, giving birth to now, right? What makes you think kids artificially grown are going to be treated well, right? What's the point? What's the point? And I'm not against it per se. I'm not for it. I'm indifferent. I'm just indifferent. And the thing is, like, how's it going to change human psychology? How's it going to change missionary? How? You don't explain the mechanism. Artificial womb, therefore it's going to change society for the good. How?
Yeah, he's just making it out to be like it's some self-evident truth or some shit like that. No, it actually isn't. Because even if I were to steal the argument that he's probably thinking of, like, it makes men independent of female reproduction, and but yeah, okay, so what? It's like they're not going to be emotionally and psychologically independent from them, right? Because if you want to make this evolutionary argument, evolution takes a lot of time, actually. Takes years upon years, like thousands of years, right? So, no, evolution is not going to self-correct the issues that we have with misandry and anti-male discrimination. So this is just another code.
Men marry beautiful women and don't have children with them. They're just happy to be with a beautiful woman, right?
Yeah.
It's a big like, but the having children is a tertiary reason why men get with women, right? And a lot of the time, men got women pregnant without planning for it to happen. They just instinctively like the women, right, and just wanted to be with them because they're attracted to them. It's like gay sex. Right, gay sex is a sex instinct. It's related to reproduction because it's a sex act, but it's nothing to do with reproduction, right? Because you can't have babies from it.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, look at like the AI girlfriends and OnlyFans and stuff like that. Yeah. This is only for low status men who cannot get a girlfriend. But if these men could get a girlfriend, they would take that over AI girlfriends or OnlyFans every single time. Right, so it's not some kind of, these. It shows that these men are still emotionally invested in women, regardless of anything else, right?
Yes.
Any technological thing.
It does just boil down to Lookism. I can only assume that if you have a lot of
straw man.
Yes, I'm
not like straw man.
Again, I'm indifferent. I'm not for it. I'm not against it. I can see benefits. I can see drawbacks. But there's actually a lot of potential drawbacks to the artificial womb because a fascist nation state or an authoritarian nation state might decide to grow men in vats, abuse them, neglect them, raise them very roughly, and use them as cannon fodder in wars. That's a potential dystopian scenario, right?
Yeah.
You can't just say it's self-evidently a boom, right?
Right. You can't play with genetics there. Like
Yes.
the designer babies that like
Yeah.
theoretically you can like make them high IQ or low IQ or whatever, right?
And
For
also, and the thing
example.
is, and men are so passive, right? Yes, and men are so passive right now anyway, and not organising right now anyway. It's very possible that women could use the artificial womb to make men extinct. Just keep enough men around to do the menial maintenance and breed loads of women out, right? And have
Right.
men as a tiny minority underclass. Okay,
Yeah.
that's possible.
And if the government is still feminist, right? Artificial womb added to this is basically just going to be gate kept by feminists anyway. So how the fuck is this going to help? Like
Yeah.
low status average men will not benefit from this anytime soon.
Yes.
So this would only be yeah.
The internet's already ruined. Basically, we had a window of opportunity to use the internet productively, and men didn't use it. Right.
Yeah.
So we have the opportunity to change things now as men without any new technology, but we just don't take advantage of it. The new technology coming along is pointless. That's what I'm saying. The artificial womb is a nothing burger. It's a nothing burger.
Yeah, yeah. And in the immediate future, it would also be very expensive. The average
Yes.
man wouldn't be able to afford it anyway. If we
Yes.
like look at price ranges for surrogacy, for example, in the United States, it's like in the range of $100,000 to
Yes.
$200,000. And
Yes.
if we take that as the benchmark, um, like if like artificial womb would probably cost even more or something, right? So this only for rich couples with reproductive issues in the immediate future, right?
Yes.
Even if it costs, if the costs decrease after that, like decades after that or something, it's already going to be, yeah, it's already going to be too late for the average
They don't
man.
let they don't let men adopt anyway. They don't
Yeah,
let single men adopt anyway because they think they're
yeah.
paedophiles. Let's be real. So yeah. Anyway, let's carry on playing.
Consternation and fear about artificial uteri, then like you're the same kind of person who's clutching pearls over AI. And I can only imagine that.
Pause. I am clutching pearls over AI. AI is a fucking disaster. We are suffering the results of feminist AI on Google and on YouTube. Like
Yeah, he's
feminists, from what I
specific.
hear, I just sorry. From what I hear, feminists put in they took stuff from MMA forums and directly put into the language learning machines, right, as stuff to censor out and or deprioritize on the internet. Okay, that's what AI has actually done. So I'm not clutching pearls over it. AI is a fucking disaster. Sorry, I'll let you speak.
Yeah, he's specifically referencing my post on on YouTube about AI art and where I
Yes.
criticized AI art basically, why I think it's an oxymoron, and he just makes it
Yeah.
out to be like I'm some kind of Luddite, right? Which is basically being against technology, which is a straw man,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
I've
Yes.
I'm not like necessarily for banning AI. I would rather have it reformed and regulated. But if it cannot
Yes.
be reformed and regulated, if it stays the way it is now, then I would be for banning it because the
But
negatives outweigh the positives.
the AI art is theft. It's copyright infringement by corporations of countless artists. Okay, they scanned the art without their permission. Okay, right, and they used it for the algorithms to generate the art. Okay, so these corporations, so they're gatekeeping us from copyright stuff all the time, right? There's lots of stuff that should just be copyright free, and they gatekeep it against us, right? The common man, the common person, but they want to violate copyright and steal from the common man artist, right? The double
Mm-hmm.
standard is immense there. AI is there's other things, like human resources and what do you call it? Customer service has been ruined by AI as well. right? They're using feminist bias AI in hiring, in reviewing CVs to filter out men from jobs,
Yeah.
right? AI is a disaster. It's a disaster. And AI content is complete shit as well. It's garbage. It's diarrhea. It's filth. I've never seen any good AI content ever.
Yeah.
But I'm actually much more hardline than you. Actually, I just want it banned. I'm more hardline than you. Your post, if I'm going to criticise it, you did not go hard enough, right, against AI art. You still moderate. I'm not joking. I'm really against AI. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was actually criticizing it harshly, but I don't even consider
Yeah.
AI art to be art. It's just
Yes.
trash. But yeah,
Yes.
It's
but
soulless pap, just endlessly churned out.
Yes.
yeah, but
Yes.
again, this doesn't mean that we are against technology per se, right? We don't want to go back to the Middle Ages or some shit like that. This is just
Yes.
this is just a straw man that he makes up.
Yes.
Like every morning you wake up and you mourn the loss of the horse and buggy industry. So I don't know how to help you. That might have to be a whole separate video. But I kind of realized that I can understand, or at least I'm trying to understand, why he thinks that that's such a horrible cope. Like for people to get really excited about that, kind of white pilled on it. And what I realized is, anytime that
He uses a lot of brain rot terminologies, right? So he's using the term white pill to mean optimism, optimistic. It's brain
Yeah,
rot, internet brain rot slang. We're not part of the pill community. We don't like those terms. They're fucking cringe. They're self-marginalizing terms as well. You look like a weirdo to normal people when you use those terms.
yeah, like white pill, red pill, black pill, pink pill, like all these pills.
And yeah,
As soon as someone talks like that, it's like it's a red flag immediately because it shows that
yeah,
they probably lack critical thinking skills, and
yes,
he didn't even understand. Like, I actually explained myself very clearly in my original post about artificial
yeah,
wombs, and yeah,
yes,
like we said, men are already hardwired to like women and to be sympathetic towards women and
yes,
emotionally invested in women. So this technology just dropping on the market is just not going to help, right? It's fake hype, it's cope, and it's unproductive. Yeah,
Right.
you propose an individual change, technology, strategy, right? Any one given thing, and then you want to imagine how it's going to impact the future. Well, I mean, naturally, the first way you're going to start conceiving of it is by kind of keeping everything in stasis, right? And then imagining the one thing changing over time. And obviously, we all know what the butterfly effect is, right? We all know that any number of other things are going to happen and that it's going to affect other things in other ways that are going to be less obvious. And it's going to be this great cacophonous, chaotic thing, right? And nobody is truly Miss Cleo, not even Miss Cleo. But I also feel like that kind of goes without saying, but maybe it's not that obvious. I can totally see how people kind of like keep a fixed stasis in terms of the society and culture. You add the artificial uteri, or you add birth control, right? And then you just say, okay, well, right? And then all these negative.
birth control's been a disaster as well, actually, because it increased female control of their lives, and because females are hostile to men, right? It's given them more freedom to be aggressive towards men. Birth control's been a disaster, actually, right? And the man who invented birth control, the men, two men, I think there's two men primarily responsible for it. The feminists don't remember them. No gratitude. I've never seen a female say, "This man's done this and this for us," in memorial to them. They don't give a fuck. They're solipsistic psychopaths. They just gobble the benefits of it, okay, and they just move on. And the thing is, women want to actually deny us birth control as well. I've seen women actually attack male birth control options, basically, right? So that's why I'm against female birth control. If they want to take something away from us, we should want to take it away from them on principle. right?
Yeah.
Retaliation.
Okay.
I've seen
Yes.
feminist women say they hope men trial a male birth control pill just so it kills them. They
Yes.
wish death on men for that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
They don't deserve it.
Externalities just develop in tandem, and I'll catch up with you. So there's definitely an interesting conversation to be had there. I don't think he's having that conversation. I think he's saying that it's not going to fucking help anyone at all, and it's totally stupid, and it's just a cope. And it's like weird to me that he almost took.
Pause. We're calling it a cope because there's MGTOWs absolutely fucking obsessed with the artificial womb, and they say it's going to get rid of gynocentrism.
Yeah.
Right? I've seen those
exactly.
comments. It's fucking delusional.
Yeah,
Delusional. It's not going to do anything.
Yeah, they're overhyping it extremely. Like it's gonna solve all the problems.
Yes.
As soon as it hits the market, it's just dumb as fuck. Like, yeah. What else is there to say? Like he's just straw manning. Like I even said that it might help if in like hypothetical faraway future, if the government was really pro male, then it might help someone, right? So I'm not calling it like completely useless or something, right? But the way most people in these MGTOW spaces talk about it's like the holy grail or something. Like
It's coped by passive men who don't want to do anything. They just want things to self-correct on its own without them doing the legwork. This is why men are slaves to women. We are a defeated sex. We are defeated. We're crushed, and we're wimps. Men are collective wimps and losers and slaves to women. That's the hard truth.
Yeah, they don't want to. They would rather be slaves than to work in solidarity with other men. Like all this. What he said, like, individual solutions. There's no individual solution to a collective problem.
Yes. Well, do you know the original Black Pill blog? Do you know what the banner of that was? There's no individual solutions to systematic problems.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes.
The exact negation of the irresponsible white pilled aspect of it, when like realistically we're just saying that the artificial uterus is going to shake things up, and it is going to give men more power over their own lives and more freedom. Absolutely. And it's like self-evident. Like that's not pie in the sky nonsense. That's just the literal immediate consequences of that technology.
Pause. Okay, a low status man he's out of work because of feminist AI and feminist human resource managers because he's had a bad education, right? Okay, how the fuck is an artificial womb going to help him? First of all, the government's not going to let him use it, and even if he could, how do having kids do him any good if he can give him a good life anyway? What the hell are you on about?
Exactly. These sci-fi delusions, like, it's self-evident. It's going to have an immediately positive effect on men and give them more freedom. And like in what world is this guy living in?
Right.
Technology existing. Oh, and he says, well, it's only going to be for rich men. You fucking idiot. You socialist fucking retarded commie boomer idiot. Luxury goods.
Fuck you.
He's got you dead to rights, you commie. You're a commie. A Shield for Men is actually 65 years old, and he's a raging Marxist. He was actually an agent for the East German police back in the day.
Jesus fucking Christ, man. Yeah. You got me there. Right. Jesus fucking Christ. I even made a video criticizing communist regimes for being misandric.
Yes.
Like, what the fuck is this guy on about?
Yes. Like, I've had video titles mocking Marxists as well. I call them Marxels. I've got at least 2 or 3 like that, right? So
yeah, but you know what he's doing here? He's like, you don't understand basic economics. It's clear that things are gonna get cheaper. Like, even then, like, this would take time, right? We have surrogacy. that is already expensive as fuck. Like, if
Yes.
the feminist system is not going to change, if it stays on that trajectory, then logically this artificial womb, regardless of whether or not it's sheep or not, it's going to be kept by feminists, and it's not going to do shit for the average low status man who's going to be even more marginalized in the far future. Like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
Yes.
They'll just say men can't grow their own children because men will be pedophiles to them. That's what they'll say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and he called me a retarded boomer or something. Like, what the fuck?
Yes. It's ageism as well. Actually, I want to get into that. It's actually ageism as well. It's actually very disrespectful, right? So look, I've done old fart jokes on videos in the past, right? So, but it's still not good, right? And the person was actually a raging right winger going on about Marxism at a Voice for Men conference. I remember that, but yeah, it's this stereotype of just calling everyone a fucking boomer because you disagree with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's because
especially
he was inflexible. He just wanted to stick to the same failed ideas. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, just because someone criticizes technology or is like critical of these sci-fi delusions, this doesn't mean that we are boomers who just like don't want any technological progress or something. This is just dumb.
Yeah.
Get cheaper.
Let's play.
And more accessible over time. This always happens. Go to Temu if you don't believe me, right? Shit, if you could go and look at the shit on Temu and show it to people just like 20, 30 years in the past at the price point it is, like, do you even know what electronics are, right? Have you looked at hard drives, right? It's absolute fucking retarded nonsense, this ludus position. And I realized, you know, these fucking European men, these socialist bastards, they're fucking broken. They're broken as fuck, and it's pathetic. But
Right, pause. You're American, from what I can see. Your country is a right-wing shithole with crumbling infrastructure and a brutal police state, right? Okay, you're in no position to criticise Europe. Right?
Yeah.
And the biggest criticism you can say about Europe is that we're willing lackeys to your shitty country. That's the biggest problem with Europe. We're subservient to your shitty country. Okay, which I'm actually ashamed of as a British person and a European. Okay, but your American shithole with no national health service, bloated military spending, shitty education, right? You're a fucking joke. You're a fucking joke. The rest of the world laughs at you. Laughs at your shitty country. That's just the honest truth.
Yeah.
People laugh at Americans. Yeah? Right? The richest country in the world, the most powerful country in the world, right? And the average American doesn't know his arse from his fucking elbow. He doesn't know geography, right? They have to fly in people from fucking China to run your manufacturing chip factories they're setting up now because there's not enough educated people. And your education systems are fucking disaster because of feminism as well and DEI, right? That people are fleeing American universities now. It's kind of a fucking joke.
Not to mention the warmongering.
Yes.
China is beating your country in prosperity. How about that?
Yes. And also, what about your prison population as well? Don't forget that. They've got a massive prison population, too.
Yeah, and also a lot of privatization going on in the prison industrial complex as well.
And the child support system in America is worse than the European system as well, right? It's literally slavery. It's debtor's prison and slavery. The child support system in the USA. It's just so authoritarian and egregious. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I'm actually a socialist, actually. So hands off my socialism, right? And I'm look. If I had a choice between Marxism and capitalism, I'd pick Marxism, and I don't even like fucking Marxism. It would be the lesser of two evils, right? And like in Western capitalist societies, that right, we don't have freedom as much freedom as we used to have anymore anyway. So we're gonna have Chinese-style authoritarianism without the benefits, because at least they've got a good fucking economy, yeah, right? And we don't. So whatever.
Yeah, but don't forget that in his world, the United States of America and Europe are not capitalist. right now, right?
Yeah.
In his mind, right? Because he thinks that, oh my God, we have taxes. That is literally socialism.
Yes.
Like, I'll tell you the
Right.
difference.
Let's
Like,
play.
China has rules to their censorship. America doesn't have rules to their censorship. Yeah.
Yes.
And anyway, let's
Yeah.
play.
We'll get into that a little bit later. The third one, and this is the most important one, is he thinks Lookism is a cope, right? Now I'll say it can be, and if you ask City Crusher or Mr. Pink and Yellow or A Shield for Men to explain why they've made such a fucking Moby Dick out of Lookism, which is innocuous.
Pause. It's not innocuous, and we haven't made a Moby Dick out of it. We've just called it out in videos, right? So, first of all, I'm against falsehoods on principle of it. If it's false, I'm going to call it out. And I don't trust the motive of the people who promote Lookism because it's so blatantly false. That in of itself is suspicious, because if you can't accept the obvious truth, there's something wrong with you mentally, right? There's some emotional compulsion to deny reality, and that's not healthy, and it's counterproductive. And we are a facts-based ideology is based on facts, right, and observation, not denial of reality.
And there's even a deeper problem with Lookism or Lookism. It's that it promotes the idea that men are oppressed due to their looks, right?
Yes.
And that's a false idea. It misplaces the origin of men's oppression onto something else that is not relevant. Like there are literally men in these Lookism spaces who think that good-looking men are not oppressed, right? They basically believe in a feminist male privilege bullshit, right?
Yes.
So Lookism is actually a feminist ideology when you think about it, right?
Because fascist as well. It's eugenics as well, because I've seen it. So they're like reverse eugenicists. They keep on going, oh, I'm subhuman. It's over for me. I'm genetically unfit. My legacy's going to die out. I can't have kids. I'm subhuman. It's like weird self-flagellation coming from these weirdos from the incel community. And we're going to talk about the problems with the incel community because we don't hate incels. We don't bully incels, but they have a wacky ideology that's counterproductive and it actually harms them. It's self-sabotaging.
Right. Yeah, he makes up the straw man later on that we sort of bully incels or something. That's complete nonsense.
Yeah.
I made multiple videos defending incels. Like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Yes.
It's innocuous and it is inoffensive completely. Well, they're going to explain how it has a very, very specific application and that some people use it to load very, very dense other bells and whistles to it, and that's what they're against. And that's called a subcategory of a thing, okay? You don't get to just go all the way down to a specific niche, particular, rare variant and version of a term.
Pause. I just want to point out something as well. So basically, we talk about female hypergamy, and there's constant gaslighting against us for talking about it, right? Because they want to deny what female hypergamy is. Women love status, and they like going for higher status men, and they deselect lower status men. I've actually been called an incel multiple times for pointing this out, right? Okay, so Lookism people are part of the problem of denying hypergamy as well, because they make it about looks when it's clearly not. It's about status. Status is the primary factor about female decisions for mating choices and what social circles they associate with as well, because women actually are aggressive and push low status men out of their social circles, even outside of romance, right? Hypergamy is actually an aggressive female instinct as well.
Yeah, it explains the power dynamic between men and women perfectly.
Yeah.
And it's actually evidence-based, unlike Lookism, which is just focused on dating anyway, right? Status, men compete with other men to achieve status in order to get the girl, so to speak, right? And the women are demanding that they fight with other men, right? It shows you how much power women have, right? So women set the standards, okay? And Lookism is just distracting from that, basically.
Yes. So let's carry on.
And then because you found that, you now get to apply it to the whole umbrella, right? Because any fucking one of us can just open a new tab. We can type in Lookism, or as a Shield for Men likes to say, Lookism. It's the fact that people...
What was it? What? So is he saying you say Lookism funny? Like, do you overemphasize the S?
I don't know. Maybe
what
I
is he
do.
making it?
It's just a piece of
He's not making.
Okay, well, bad Shield for Men. Don't say Lookism like that. Say it properly or something. That's got to be the lamest joke I've ever seen in my fucking life. I mean, what?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, whatever.
Lookism. Is that how you say it? Lookism. Lookism. Right.
People who are perceived as more attractive are going to get treated better. And then it kind of extends...
Pause. That's not the claim that
When
these
have we ever denied that?
lookism.
Exactly. When have we ever made that? We've never made that, denied that.
Yeah.
It's so trite and obvious. Yes.
Yeah, and this is not even the claim that these lookism people are making. They say that looks is the most important thing to women. This is what these people are saying. If they were just saying looks matter, all things held equal, right, then this would be trivial. Nobody would talk about it because it's obvious, right? But they're putting looks over status in their analysis, and that's totally false.
And also, they come up with wonky ideas like looks match as well. They go, oh, this man should be dating this woman because they're looks match. There's no such thing as looks match. They project male sexuality and preferences onto females, which is complete bullshit. Yeah.
Lends itself to the idea that you look at these physical phenotypes and then you use that as a benchmark to kind of estimate people's virtues just by looking at them. And I would say that to some degree, these things, if you have one, they're going to create a feedback loop, because a person who's treated very well is going to have, a better time getting educated, getting trained, a more positive experience in any...
Pause. So this may be true or not, but it's going to be a very marginal difference, because far more important is the status of the person, the status that the person's born into. The financial status they're born into, whether they're middle class, working class, or upper class. That magnitude times more important, in my opinion.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's a far greater predictor of life success. Yeah. So, most of the failures most failures in society come from single mother child households and growing up. If you grow up in a children's home and you've got a single mother, you've been abused as a child, you've been neglected, bad nutrition. Those are better predictors than fucking looks. Right.
Yeah.
It's when you think about it like that, it makes you realise how ridiculous Lookism is. It's just out of context nonsense, surface level, trite analysis that means nothing.
Yeah. I mean, again, if his claim is looks matter a little bit here and there, then who cares? Like, yeah, sure, nobody denied that.
Yes.
Anything that they do or try, just across the board, and in turn, this experience, this history that's part of them, well, it's going to tend to mean that if you see an attractive person, you can bet that they have some knowledge and some skill and everything, right? So I think either one of those is sufficient to justify.
Good. So if someone's good looking, you can assume they're going to have some skills and knowledge. What? What?
That's wonky.
Okay, because they're treated. That is fucking bizarre. Okay.
By the other, and ultimately, who the fuck doesn't think that people who are better looking don't get treated better than other people? And I can understand.
Yeah.
And
that
you
can tell. Sorry, I just want to point something out. You can tell they're full of shit. And they know they haven't got a leg to stand on because they have to resort to straw manning, right? They have to resort to it because they got nothing of substance to say or add. They can't criticise our ideas or improve upon them. They have to straw man. Yeah.
Basically, they changed the definition of Lookism whenever you challenge the idea, right? They say, "Oh, looks is the
It's
most
weasel
important
words.
thing." Yeah, they say
It's weasel
that
words.
they say looks is the most important factor, and when you point out how this is not true, then they say, "Oh, you
Yeah.
think looks don't matter at all?"
Yes.
Like
The
this is
manosphere used to do that. POAs used to do that as well. So you'd call out their bullshit dating theories, right? That was based on statistic. So basically, POA, a lot of it was based on fake pseudo-scientific stuff on creating attraction in women. When it was proven that female attraction registers in female brains way before conscious thought, right? And you can't fake female attraction. You can signal status, but you can't break female attraction by your behaviour, right? And what the POAs would do is, oh, so you're saying working out and being healthy won't improve your chances of women. Oh, POA is just about being healthy and blah blah blah. They'll make it something trite and obvious, and they'll make it nebulous and mean absolutely anything, right? When you're criticizing something specific, that's one of the
yeah,
manosphering tactics they used to use.
it's so
So
dishonest.
yes,
Let's see. I can understand why, like, you'd want to go up against this if you think that it's like harmful to men, and that's where the black pill and inceldom come in. And as you might remember, I am the Chris Crocker of the incels. Don't fuck with incels. I will end you. I'll fucking kill you. Stay away from my incels, okay? Don't bully them. They don't deserve it. You're a fucking coward if you're
Well,
bullying.
when have we ever bullied incels? When?
Yeah, it's like what the hell, man? Like,
Right.
I mean, okay, criticizing their ideas is bullying now. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
My incels, okay?
Okay,
I'm
let's
gonna
carry on.
come in there with my gay little cape and my smeared eyeliner, and I'm gonna say, "Leave them alone!" Right? And you know, they're just gonna be confused. They're just gonna want to rope a little bit that much more. But I mean, someone's got to do something, you know. And what I mean is that,
Oh,
you know,
I'm trying to convince incels to drop the incel label, self-identified incels are the incel labels, because incels are literally regarded as terrorists, and the security services are actually watching them and spying on them, right? And there's been cases of what nationalist groups trying to use them as cannon fodder in their terrorist attacks, trying to recruit them to do terror attacks, right? Okay, the incel label is actually dangerous to self-identify with. Men have got to drop it, in my opinion. And it's also, I don't like dividing men between sexually successful men and sexually sexless men, right? I don't like that divide because it's artificial and it's one that's not valid to me. Because to me, it's immaterial whether a man is sexless or not, right? I don't
Yeah,
care one way
yeah.
or the other. So yeah, and the thing is, men and incels make their all their problems about that lack of sex. That's another problem as well. No, you got look,
Yeah.
being deselected sucks, being sexless sucks, right? But you've got foundational problems as your status as a man that are far deeper than that. The lack of sex is only a symptom, right? A
Right.
surface
Yeah,
symptom. Yeah.
yeah. They're just obsessed with women, and they think that having a girlfriend would solve all their problems or something. When literally our political apparatus and our society is ripping the human rights away from them, right? As men, right?
Yes.
Like when your ass is getting drafted, then your girlfriend is not going to save you. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry to say, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
So you got to focus on basics. When men lack basic human rights, then all this dating shit is just vapid.
Yeah.
And there's growing popularity in bringing back the draft. And
Yes.
Trump told European countries to up their military spending. So
Yes.
you have an idea of what's in store. All these newly unemployed men that they want to
Yes.
put up to the draft. It's like
This attack on Iran could spread, right? We don't know because it's so. What NATO in the West are doing, because I consider Israel part of NATO, really. What they're doing right now could start a world war. Yeah. So this is really important stuff Your rights as a man is important.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What the incels are trying to do with the black pill is form a support group. That's it. They're trying to form a shared space where they can talk about experiences with people that are like them.
Pause. Okay, the problem is many incel spaces, black pill spaces, are very toxic. They keep on going, oh, it's over, rope yourself. And they laugh at other men who do so as well. There's incel spaces where, in the toxic ones, where they've actually encouraged incels to commit acts of violence so they can get out the popcorn and watch, right? Okay. And when the incels, because they're not politically motivated, they're bullied victims because they don't get to have their own spaces because they get closed down all the time, right? Because they're deemed as creepy terrorists, and because they don't have to articulate anything, and they say stupid shit all the time, and they look like weirdos, obsessive weirdos. They just end up being punching bags for everyone. They're the scapegoat, threat narrative for the rest of society, right? They're the bully victims. Yeah, they're wimps as well, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I mean, look, what does all this venting help, right? I mean, they're sitting in these forums or they're watching these videos, constantly venting, and
Yes.
that's not helping them really. That's not achieving anything, right? That's just, like what is it even doing? And okay, I mean, so during Jim Crow era, when black people were oppressed, like therapy is not the appropriate strategy in that situation, right? When your rights are under attack, right?
Yes.
And it's not even therapy.
Yes. So there was a men's movement in the 70s that's all about therapy, like, and painting yourself around campfires and singing songs and dancing and venting, right? Okay, and rediscovering your masculinity. It led to nothing. It
Yeah.
led to nothing. This is a nothing burger. We need political activism. Period.
Yeah, and
Whatever.
even what he said, like calling it a support group, like they're not even supporting each other. Like they could set up like some kind of charity for depressed men or something. They're not even doing that.
Yes.
So that they don't feel like they're fucking crazy, okay? And if we look at any other issue, right? If we look at drug abuse or any kind of trauma, anything that you would have a support group for, there's nothing different here. There's nothing different here.
Yes, there is. There's lots different. These drug support groups and alcohol support groups are nowhere near as toxic as many incel spaces. I have met reasonable incels, right? Okay, but the vast majority of them are not. They're not. A lot of them are crazy. A lot of them crazy. Look, I'm out of date on the incel culture. I haven't been to the forums in a few years. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're even worse now than what they used to be.
The difference is that they're an easy target. And as people in the manosphere, as anti-feminists who, we're anti-feminists because we care about men and...
We're not part of the manosphere. You're going to have to, just to correct you again, we're not part of the manosphere. We fundamentally reject the manosphere 101%. Complete rejection. We are not part of the manosphere. Man knows fear, not us. Do you get it now? Thank you.
Boys. We're not anti-feminist because we want to restore the fucking patriarchy and create a way for low SMV men to use the government to leverage their sexual market value so that they can attract women who otherwise don't fucking...
So he's used the dehumanizing term sexual market value, and he's ranted about the government helping these low-value men attract women into their lives, right? So the mask's flipped there. So just basically he doesn't want low-value men not to breed. And the thing is, he's assuming that men who are sexless are quote-unquote low value, right? Or are they genetically low value, or are they just poor and low status? What makes them low value?
This guy looks pretty low value just from his appearance and his...
Yeah, but we're not talking about him. He's gay anyway, so he's not concerned about that. So so yeah. So, and also right-wing men join the military all the time and use them to bribe women into their lives anyway. So I don't know what he's on about. Like, so every single man bribes a woman into... So is Elon Musk a high-value man? He's fat, pudgy, ugly, and mentally ill, and he's a drug addict, and he's had 11 different kids. Yeah, right. At minimum, is he a high
Yeah.
value man or is he a low value man? How do you decide this? It's circular logic. The thing is, they point to the context that a person's in, and he's in that context. Therefore, he's low value. If he's successful and rich, he must be high value. It's circular logic, basically. Oh, you're low value because you're low value. Oh, he's high value because you're high value. That's it. It's because they're perceived as. But it's just because they're selected by women or not. That's it. And I reject that criteria. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can Google like the top 50 ugliest male actors, and then you get like
Yes.
a list of really ugly male actors who have all married, had girlfriends,
Yes.
have children,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And the thing is, a lot of actors. The thing is, there is an element of talent to it, but also a lot of it's just luck as well, because the person they know, it's networking. And a lot of actors are actually just kids of parent actors who get the position because of nepotism, right? That's very, very common as well.
Hmm.
Again, the status they're born into.
Love them and aren't interested in them. I mean, maybe that's what people are on about. I think that's ridiculous. It's about empathy and care and concern for men and boys. That is the goal. So if you ask me what the
Pause.
All right, pause.
So
Okay.
empathy and care
Empathy and
for
care.
men. Oh, you
Yeah,
go on
feminists offer
first.
that. Well, sorry, I didn't. Feminists claim to offer that empathy and care and concern. Why are they offering empathy, care, and concern? Why are they offering therapy? Right? Because it doesn't change material conditions. It doesn't threaten the status quo. Status quo. There is a movement on Twitter and on the internet to talk about male's issues and male mental health, and you got to open up and all these blah 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 platitudes, right? And it's actually a popular discourse, and it's actually an acceptable discourse, right? The more radical man-hating feminists will push back against it and say men are scum, they deserve to suffer, they don't deserve help. But the mainstream society, including the mainstream feminists, welcome this narrative, right? Calm, right? Campaign against living miserably, a male charity, feminist run. It's run by the feminists, right?
Yeah,
And the feminist director running it. So this therapeutic empathy talk is a nothing burger. It's bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. It's no threat to the system. And another thing as well,
right.
I care for incels. That's why I want them to drop the fucking label and stop being so fucking toxic. Because they are toxic to each other. I've seen it. They turn on each other like crabs in a bucket. A lot of them.
Yeah, they're hyper fixated on dating and getting the girl, and they wouldn't care about any man's. They don't actually care about any man's issues besides them being deselected. Really, they don't talk about
Yes.
MGM. They don't talk about the draft. They don't talk about male homelessness, male suicide, like male discrimination in education or the legal system or divorce courts, child support. They don't talk about any of these things really, right? The only thing is, oh, I cannot get a girl, right?
Yes.
So that doesn't lead to any change, any deeper political
Yeah.
change. And you
Yes.
said like the goals, empathy and care. Like,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, no, the goal is to get our human rights back and
Yeah.
to have political changes actually for the betterment of
Yeah.
of men and boys, right? This should be the goal, right? Empathy and
Yeah.
care isn't going to defend our human rights, really, right? Or it might
Yeah.
be good for like propaganda, right?
Yes.
To spread awareness and empathy and then use it as a tool to change things. But it isn't a
Yes.
goal in itself.
Yes.
goal is, that's what I'm saying it's all about. If you ask a Shield for Men what the goal is, it's specifically to form a pro-male political party. I think that's idiotic. I think it's a waste of your effort and knowledge and talents and skill. But what runs...
Pause. So just because you believe that in and of itself makes you antithetical to us, and you're actually hostile to us, you're trying to actually undermine us, that belief, because a political party is the only way to go. Period. Men and not even, I'm not even talking about party political. Men need groups. Period. They need men's groups that are politically aware and are coordinated and pushing back against misandry.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look at what feminists do, or whatever any other group that tries to change society does, right? They form political movements, they form political parties, right? They form coalitions, they form governments,
Yes.
and this is how
Yes.
shit gets. This is how shit gets done, right? This is how
Yes.
things actually change. It won't change by like, oh, just have these therapy sessions like endlessly venting. This doesn't change shit. Of course, we need pro-male political parties at some point. Like, how the
Yes.
fuck are we gonna change any laws without any
Yes.
like political party? Like, what the hell?
We need pro-male whisper groups as well, like the feminists have. We need our own whisper groups. And what we need to do, we need to coordinate and make our own whisper groups. And the thing is, we wouldn't use them like feminists. Feminists just use them to attack any man they don't like randomly and arbitrarily to ruin them. But we'll use them to say, that woman's a feminist. Push her out that job. Push her out that job, and then get her fired. Right? Piss. That woman's a feminist. Don't hire her. Right? And she's unemployable. That's what we need. That's an example of a political group. Yeah.
Isn't that what's already happening in South Korea though? Because
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. They're getting
Yeah, so-
fired. Yes.
So that's actually an example of a man's rights movement that gets shit done, right?
Yes. Yes.
The wrong way about it is they have this attitude that like anyone who is not useful, anyone that they can't conscript into their very narrow, very specific, very close-minded idea of how it is we're going to help men and boys, well, you're part of the problem and you're just coping and you're just being.
So he calls us narrow-minded. Meanwhile, if anything isn't AnCap, then it's immediately rejected. So that's projection on his part.
Yes. And the thing is, I'm just stating basic cause and effect. I'm just observing reality, because men don't organise and do stuff, right, for their rights. Nothing ever gets done. Period. They don't accomplish anything. It's basic cause and effect. Basic cause and effect.
Being an idiot or whatever, right? And the fact that they've made Lookism into this Moby Dick and go into this, I can understand that.
Pause. How many videos have we done about Lookism? I think I've done 3.
I've done 2.
Like how many have you made? Okay, we've both got like 200 videos. We've got about 200 videos on average each. I'm not sure the exact number, roughly, right? So that's not even 1% of our content is about Lookism. Not even 1%. So what are you on about?
Yeah, he sees his like that is one ideology that he likes, right, or one idea that he likes, and just us doing 1 or 2 videos about it, he makes it out like we are obsessed with it. Meanwhile, he's actually the one obsessed with it. So it's another form of projection, right? And again, the basic problem with Lookism is that it's a distraction. So and it's false. So
like you're trying to talk about issues, people are making it too much about dating, and that's fucking annoying. Yeah, obviously, right? And we have a broader history of the MRM was too large tent, right? And the MGTOW and the TradCons.
Okay, so the thing is, the way we talk about dating, right? Because a lot of dating talk is filler content designed to waste men's time, right? The way we talk about dating makes it a relatively simple subject that doesn't need much talking about, right? If you legitimately want to date women, improve your status. That's the best advice you can get. Now, how you improve your status, that's up to you how to figure out. That cuts the conversation down, that cuts the time wasting down. So get status, move on, stop complaining. Either get status or shut up. See? So how we deal with dating is actually the best way to talk about it. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. It's based on the truth. Okay.
Duking it out predictably. Like, I get it. Everybody is kind of acknowledging the need for some kind of gatekeeping. And I won't fault them for over gatekeeping, I suppose. But in particular, taking potshots at what should be just emergent support groups that need some level of respect and concern for, right? Like, it needs to be allowed.
Pause. When have we ever tried to undermine support groups online? When?
Yeah, this is a ridiculous straw man again that he makes up.
Yeah.
Like,
It's beyond the straw man though, because he's not. He's not even arguing against positions or hold. He's arguing against fake positions, actions that we do.
yeah,
He's talking like we go out of way to undermine these groups all the time. We're waging a war against them. Like what? What are you on about, man?
exactly. I mean, I made like at least 3 or 4 videos actually defending incels and calling out like the fear mongering hysteria about them, right?
Yes.
So I've
Yes.
shown empathy towards them. So
Yes.
like I'm not out to undermine them. Like what is he talking about?
Yes.
Allowed to exist, and they shouldn't feel like they're fucking monsters or idiots or retards for doing something that's perfectly natural and healthy. And like that's what really upsets me. That's how I see it. Because I don't know what fucking good your political party's gonna do, or how you even imagine that manifests if fundamentally you're in a society where people just don't love men and boys and don't give a shit and don't see them as anything but means to an ends, because that's just the limit of their soul.
Pause. Okay, there's been groups in the past and even in recent history where the general population has held them in complete contempt, right? And that group's been able to organise politically and not make people like them, but make people respect and fear them, and they've actually won themselves more rights. Okay,
Yeah,
like lots of people are still transphobic and hate trans, but they're very politically active, and they get shit done. Not all of it good. The same with gay men as well. Okay, right? And there was a lot of racists who didn't like black people, but they didn't make people like them, but they made people fear them and respect them. And I think American society conceded to them on some level because of fear, right? They just thought they're just too much trouble, they're going to destabilize us too much, so we got to appease them, right?
yeah. And I mean, what he basically wants us to do is just he wants men to beg, right? Oh,
Yeah.
please respect us. Like he's on that train of thought, basically.
Like, for example, I want to get feminists deplatformed off the internet. I want them banned. Yeah. Okay. I want them jailed. I want them imprisoned. Yeah. I'd love to have like a feminist database to make them unemployable. Right. Let's fight with fight. There's stuff I'll do to them. Right. That would put a stop to them pretty quick, and the feminists wouldn't love us. They wouldn't like. We wouldn't win them over to be our fans, but they'll stop doing what they're doing to us right now. Right. You got to fight counter-aggression with counter-aggression. No, you got to fight aggression with counter-aggression. Yeah, not win people's hearts and minds over, because people know men are not dangerous, right? That's what there is actually a lack of fear towards men, right? That's why they're getting treated the way they are. That's why they're punching bags. No one fears incels. They think of them as meek, mild, mentally ill, and a joke. So they're punching bags. Yeah, there's no.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's something deeper. There's something more critical and more essential that needs to be addressed first. If we don't have the real empathy amongst people, I mean, then forget your fucking political solution. Even if it sticks, you're just gonna make it a target. That's what I think. I think it's impractical, but of course...
Like, how did we even reduce empathy for men and boys? Like, what is he talking about? Like, we promote empathy on our channels all the time, like pointing out how bad things are for men, right? We like
Yes.
what is like I even have some videos where I have like sad music playing and shit like that. Like, what is he talking about?
Yes. Well, he's just an AnCap. They try and cock block political organisation of other groups because they're hostile to them.
So
Right? They've got a hostile worldview.
he has his ideas he likes, and we have ideas he doesn't like. So he's trying to label our ideas as dangerous. And
So libertarianism and capitalism were ideas specifically engineered and designed by rich billionaires right? To convince lower class people not to advocate for their own interest. It's like to put a brainworm into the head that government is bad and political organisation is bad. Meanwhile, the billionaires who implanted that idea in their mind lobby the government, right, and advocate for state intervention in their interests, right? It's a garbage ideology for useful idiots. So that's what you are, antisocial contract, right? You're a useful idiot to the Koch brothers, yeah.
Yeah, like why don't these low status libertarians hold their billionaires to their standards? Don't use the government, don't lobby the government. Freedom and
Yes.
individualism, yeah. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
They also have moral reasons for opposing that approach. Um,
So what
so
moral reasons? What moral reasons
morals
does
are
he have?
morals. Yeah, morals are subjective anyway, so I don't really care if he's got moral reasons. But let's hear what they are.
that's kind of the gist of it. Is I guess for me, I didn't realize how seriously narrow-minded they are in terms of just wanting a political party. And anyone who says there shouldn't be a political solution, we should try something else. Well, yeah, I guess obviously I'm not really useful to them from their perspective.
But what's something else? That's the question. What
Yeah.
else is there other than a political solution to men's problems? What's something else?
Oh, the artificial womb, obviously. You've got to wait for the artificial womb to come. You don't need a political party because of the artificial womb. That's it. I see the light now. I'm convinced.
he's not even he's not even advocating for something else. He's just recycling old ideas manosphere and MGTOW libertarians came up with.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
we're the ones advocating for something else.
yes.
But I guess what I'd respectfully ask is maybe consider the fact that there are other approaches and that we need to be working together and that we would
Pause.
benefit.
Pause. Okay, so the amount of mistreatment I've got from MRAs and Manospherians, right? Okay, so I've been banned from the MRA Reddit 3 times now. Okay, been banned 3 times. Right, I won't digress too much about the story there, but blatant disrespect. I've been in the Blue Orange Discord, MRA Discord. There's videos about that from City Crusher. Disrespect there, and there was actually one nut job promoting rape publicly, and he wouldn't ban him, right, because of free speech. But when I criticised their clown show, the way they're running the Discord, I got banned, right? So they suddenly didn't care about free speech, yeah, and. It would take a 5-hour video to cover all the mistakes the men's rights movement has made in the past, right? They're a complete fucking failure, and they've done everything except politically organised successfully, right? So yeah, there's one party. I can't remember is it the National Coalition for Men or something? I can't remember, but there's one group in America that's done some good for men because they lobby the government.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
the National
Yeah.
Coalition for Men, yes.
Yeah, they have
Yes.
some success listed on their website, right?
Yes, yes. They're the only men's rights group I won't really criticise because they're the ones that get shit done. Yeah, they try. They're serious. Everyone else is not serious. They're clowns. Yeah. And and the thing is, the men's rights Reddit they've got rules that cock block smaller Reddits and sharing their posts and cross posting and promoting themselves because they don't want them to grow and get status. Yeah, right. So they're a bunch of failures as well. A bunch of failures.
But the men's rights subreddit is run like controlled opposition.
Yeah, I think it is actually controlled opposition. The more I think about it, I'm not sure if I'm being paranoid or not. I do think they're feminist controlled, right? So they're always going to be kept around.
From maybe a larger, broader shared goal. I think that a great counterexample is the sort of approach that Grim Reaper is taking. She's kind of infiltrating psychology and making the difference she can make. I know a lot of people are going to scoff at that, but you got to think about this. people are going to go there to try to get help, right? They're going to at least do it to try it, to check it off their list or something, right? They're going to get exposed to it in one way or another. Someone's going to be in that position to do mental health for these men and boys. Well,
Okay,
fuck.
pause. So, mental health is important, okay, but just giving mental health help to individual men without addressing root material problems is very, very limited. It's just reassurance at best, right? And I don't know this YouTuber he's talking about. I've never seen any of her videos.
I
Right.
know that YouTuber.
Yeah.
She,
Okay.
she does some decent work from what I've seen.
Right.
I'm not an expert on her channel.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
She's a
Okay.
psychologist apparently.
But one person doing that uncoordinated is not going to make a difference. It has to be systematic and collective.
Right.
So it has to be a bunch of people consciously going into psychology and practicing entryist tactics and taking it over. And once they take it over, reach critical mass, they boot the feminists out. We actually need to copy feminist tactics, but we're like 1 trillion miles away from doing that because we can't even organise stuff on the internet. We can't even organise a piss up in a brewery, right? As men, we're fucking losers because we're losing constantly.
Yeah, because also it's people like the social.
I'll be speaking. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
All right.
I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Yeah, so it's people like the antisocial contract who put in these hyper individualist ideas. Oh, just do as an individual what you can. This is not good enough, right? This is like the men's rights movement has tried that, and it's a failed approach. Why should we like? Madness is defined as doing the same thing over and over again, even though it doesn't work. Right?
Yeah.
So, if something doesn't work, then we shouldn't do it.
No.
And we have, and we have actually, as the Pro-Med Collective, we have a track record as of success, right?
Yes.
We have a track record.
We've got some success.
Yeah.
So we organize reporting groups to get misandrist, feminist, hateful posts on social media to be banned.
Right. We banned entire Reddit groups, right? Hateful Reddit groups. We have banned them, or we got them banned, right? So that is success, and an individual cannot achieve that, right? You need groups to do that.
And what I dream of doing is getting big enough so we can like pressure Elon Musk to take down feminist social media for good. If 10,000 men just tweeted at Elon Musk consistently, it would either have to block us all or he'll do something about it, right?
Yes.
And then he blocks us all. We'll just create new accounts and tweet at him and just harass him, right? But yeah,
Of course.
I mean, the degree to which we can make them
Sorry?
let's carry on. Sorry.
anti-feminists is huge, right? Think about how much good a person in that sort of position can do. And contrast that with, like, you know, a pro-male politician. I think it's very obvious, you know, where you're going to get...
Okay. Political movements like Marxists are holistic. They do party politics. They do social events. They enter academia. They enter education. Right? They do cultural things. They write. They do political theory. Right? They do propaganda. They do meetings. Right? Okay. So you've got this weird false dichotomy of just doing party politics and nothing else. Right? That's fucking ridiculous. That's a straw man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I said in my original post that we should focus on getting things done, like political parties and forming pro-male political governments, but I never said that this should be the only thing, the only method, or the only strategy that we should pursue. Obviously not, right?
Can you imagine if I was in the Houses of Parliament, right, and that woman was giving a female curfew speech, a male only curfew speech, right, and I just stood up and and I shouted at her, and tried shouting her down, and I got dragged out. That would get national attention. That'd be great propaganda. Male politicians could do a lot, right? They can push back. They'll be able to push back against the feminist policy openly, even if it was just one, right?
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
just one. Yes. God.
More real good done.
He's basically saying.
And that
Yeah. Did you say
So
something?
again, it's a false dichotomy. Yes, it's just a false dichotomy. Then that's all he's offering, and basically he's hostile to us as well. He's a libertarian, so he wants us to do nothing. He's trying to justify it.
Yeah.
That's why I've
Sorry,
focused
carry
a
on.
little bit more on volunteering for the men's center that's local to me. Because you can just get in there and you can do it. There's nothing stopping you. And, that's
Well,
really what...
The Black Panthers had food kitchens, soup kitchens. They did volunteering for the community as well. They're a political group. Again, false dichotomy.
politics is. Stefan Molyneux did put it right, put it best, I should say. No matter what you think of him, I'm sorry you think he's a creepy cultist or whatever, don't hear his name often enough, but, what politics is it's
Okay,
running...
Pause. Stefan Molyneux, who's anti-status, right, defended slavery because it was against freeing the slaves because it would violate the property rights of the slave owners, even though that property rights was a statist construct. He's a racist, contradictory clown. Stefan Molyneux is a fucking joke. He's a joke. He's a joke. He's a meme. Do you support me getting shot? Was a meme. He's a nobody. Bloody hell. Keep your Stefan Molyneux brain rot away from us, please.
around and trying to convince everyone else that you should have freedom and that you should be respected instead of just going and getting it yourself. Philosophy is how you stop asking people for permission and you just go and you get it. You get it however you need to get it.
Well, this is MGTOW delusion.
Yeah.
This is MGTOW delusion. Okay, if gays did not fight for their rights, you'd currently not be able to be openly gay. The police would be kicking down your door and arresting you for being gay. Right?
Indeed.
Okay.
Indeed.
Indeed. What fucking just go? It sounds like MGTOW garbage. Just go and grab it for yourself. No. Okay. If society wants you to, if society decided to round you up and put you in a concentration camp just because they don't like you, right? It can do that. Right? This is like hyper agency delusion. This is bourgeois privilege delusion because he comes across as a privileged kid to me, a privileged young man. Right? Okay. So, like, what world are you living in? What world are you living in?
Yeah, like I said, if the draft comes, then spew your MGTOW nonsense then, right? Oh, just do whatever you want, right?
Yes. Yes.
So we fundamentally just have very different worldviews. I think that the political, just this Reddit-brained, just idiotic worldview where like it has to be measured through a political solution, no. But this leads to...
Your social life, what you achieve in your social life, is off the backs of other people's political achievements. Yeah? Right? Freedom of speech is a political concept. Right? Okay? So, if you practice freedom of speech, you only get to do that because of politics. Yeah? Because you live in a state that believes in it. Right? So you're basically parasiting off politics, you're benefiting from politics, but you don't want to give back. Yeah? And you're disparaging it. Right? Okay? If they were passing a law, if the USA was like currently passing a bill to round up all gay men in concentration camps, right, you'd suddenly become very interested in politics and what the voting on that bill would be, right? Okay? Politics can destroy you or it can liberate you. And if you don't engage, you're just riding the waves randomly and you can end up being a victim of it.
Yeah, I mean, politics is just a tool, or the government or the state. It's just a tool, right? But they demonize it as something evil in itself, which is irrational. It depends on how it's used.
Yes.
the broader issue that I alluded to earlier, right, with my causing drama in City Crusher's Discord. I don't know what the fucking issue. It's not like it's that active of a Discord, right? Like he just really just doesn't like AnCap people. And with Pink and Yellow, same thing, right? So my argument is simple. If you don't respect people's property rights, then you don't really respect their human rights either. Our right to own property and to not be...
Pause. You're conflating human rights with property rights. Property rights are not human rights. Okay.
Hello?
Yeah.
I've never said I'm against property rights. Yeah, I'm here. I've never said I'm against property rights.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So it's a straw man, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like, there can also be cases where a company's property rights can violate someone else's human rights. Like, we can see that with water privatization, for example, right? So if a company just privatizes or has water privatized, and that's their property, right? They can do whatever the fuck they want with it, but that can violate the rights to water that other people have in the community, right? So these things are not the same.
Yes, and also you can't be property rights are enforced by the state, so you can't. And capitalism is a contradiction. There's no property rights without state. Period. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Like the fact that the boss only means of production is via property rights. Period. So his position is like schizophrenic. I call it literally schizophrenic. It's so contradictory. It's schizophrenic. Right? It's mindlessly schizo. I'm sorry. It's just I reject. The elements of Marxism I reject as well completely. Right? The stateless society through communism aspect. Right, that's nonsense as well. AnCap is like just like that, but even more stupid. Yeah, because at least under Soviet theory, they create a political apparatus, capture the society, create a state, and create a centralized state, and try and create communism. So in the middle stage on the road to communism, at least that state is functional and can do stuff, right? So it puts it like 100 steps ahead of shittism and capitalism. Right? It's your ideology is a joke. It's just a cock block joke. It's just designed to convince stupid people not to be politically active. Basically, that's it. That's all your ideology is. It's just a negative net waste. That's why I'm against it. But if you're a conservative, let's say you're conservative and you believe in capitalism, but you believe in state regulations and society should be regulated, and it should give some stuff to some people, like British conservatives believe, then I could deal with you. We might disagree on things, but at least you've got a reasonable worldview that's based on reality. But your worldview is not based on reality, right? It's just not. Your stateless capitalist society has never existed and it never will. Period.
Yeah, it's self-contradictory nonsense. Like, who's gonna enforce the non-aggression principle? Who's gonna do that? It has to be a state.
Does he mention it? Does he mention it later?
Later. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. We'll talk about the non-aggression principle when he talks about it. Yeah.
By the government is a basic human right. And the libertarians are 100% correct about this. We do have universal secular ethics. It is expressed in the non-aggression principle, and we can justify property rights.
Well, you can't justify property rights. Property rights are enforced they're enforced by the state. They're an intersubjective concept. So property rights intrude upon others, right? So I did not consent to property rights, right? People do not consent to property rights, right? They're not asked to, they consent to it, so therefore it's forced upon them, therefore it's aggression, therefore it violates the non-aggression principle. And not that I have any respect for the non-aggression principle, because it's a worthless, meaningless abstraction, but you don't, but your property rights violate your own stupid principles anyway, so you're contradicting yourself again. Therefore your ideology is completely fucking worthless. Yeah, like literally fascism is a better ideology. Fascism is we're nasty, violent people. We're going to kill other people, invade their countries, bash their heads in, and take their own stuff. It's evil, but at least it's achievable in the real world. Your gibberish is not achievable in the real world. It's nonsense. Yeah, because like without a state, right? Your property rights will just be a fiction. A gang will just come along with guns and take your property off you, right?
Yeah,
It's so, reality.
the AnCap society would actually devolve into fascism. It would just be like violent militias going around, like, taking shit from people and enslaving people, and there would be no central authority to stop it, really. Like,
Yes. But I'm sure this Giga Chad would be fine. He'll thrive in that sort of condition. He'll be kicking their asses left, right, and centre. He'll be like Kirito from Fist of the North Star, basically. Yes.
But, yeah, we all know it's a signing government that's the reason he's under 5 Lookism incel instead of a 10 plus chap.
He's gay. He's gay though. Incelism doesn't apply to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also want to point out another thing. So the non-aggression principle is basically saying that it's immoral to initiate force or violence or something, right?
Yes.
But a lot of today's property and property rights are due to previous generations basically using violence in order to get that land, right? So this is how capitalism actually started. Like, you had the enclosure movement, right? Kicking off peasants of the land violently, right?
Yes.
And they were taking that property over, right? So they actually violated the non-aggression principle, right?
Yes.
So capitalism is actually against, or it's violating the non-aggression principle, so it's inconsistent.
So philosophically, it's inconsistent. The philosophical concept of property rights is an aggression, and historically and contextually, in the real world, it's an aggression as well. So it fails on both counts then, right? It makes it worthless, right? And there's too many libertarian military vets anyway, so they join the army, get paid to be in the army, right? Off taxpayers' money. They leave the army and then they become libertarians, not my taxes types, right? So they leech off the system and then they kick the ladder away for future people, or want to kick the ladder away for future people who want to leech off it, right? So yeah, again, property rights are an initiation of force. They are barriers, they're boundaries. Property rights are based on boundaries, right? This is mine, mine. That's initiation of force. That violates the non-aggression principle. I can't make it any simpler than that.
Argumentation ethics. If you don't like that, that's not robust enough for you. I promise you, it's a lot more robust and unassailable than anything anyone else is putting forward. Because all they're doing is saying, well, that's stupid.
So I've just destroyed your ideology, and I've read Stefan Molyneux's stuff. I used to watch loads of these videos, right? It's not unassailable. It's not perfect, and it's not. It's there's nothing deeper to it. It's really simple and it's really dumb.
It's brain rot.
And then just making up a bunch of bullshit and being a bunch of more relativist retards. And I think that at that point,
okay, Jordan Peterson goes on about moral relativism. So it's just an intellectual temper tantrum. It's just a way of saying you're immoral in a fancy way, right? So moral relativism. So for me, I can say, since you're a capitalist and you believe in property rights, and I believe in communal rights, and all the land should be shared equally, and you should all live in one big commune. If I believed in that, you're a moral relativist, and I'm a morally superior because I believe in that, right? I could easily claim that if I wanted to. So your moral relativism is just an intellectual temper tantrum. It's meaningless, right?
Well, you're no different than a feminist then. Who cares? You're just an opportunistic, materialistic fucking demon.
But
fuck off. If you're a capitalist, You're a fucking capitalist. You're a capitalist. You're a materialistic demon. You're property rights. This is mine. This is my land. Hoard, 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 hoard. You're materialistic. Guess what, motherfucker? We're all materialistic, you dipshit. Every single one of us is materialistic. We exist in the material realm, you fucking idiot. Dude, look at you in your room. Go and live in the fucking woods and eat bugs if you're not materialistic then. Fucking idiot. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, this would be consistent with libertarianism. But he doesn't want to live outside the state, actually. He wants to benefit from it. Like,
They never leave the state. They never leave the state, right? He's the one that's just like the feminists. He's like those feminists who complain about the patriarchy and how oppressive society is, and they never leave it. So he's just like them. He's the one who's like the feminists. Yeah, and you're opportunistic then. If you don't leave it, you're if you think the state is so moral and people reap the benefits of the state are opportunistic, right? Leave. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's just total nonsense. We actually see what happens when governments crumble. Like, immediately, new governments take over from either from outside or from inside, right?
Yes.
Or even slavery happens. Like when
Yes.
when the government of Libya was taken out, then immediately after that came literal human slavery, right? So
Yes.
that ensued immediately after the government was gone. So,
Yes.
like, there's always something that's some force that's going to fill the power vacuum, and it's usually very bloody and violent and shit like that, and fascist. So
Yeah.
that's bad.
Yes.
Now it's just might makes right. So I guess the feminists are right then. I guess there's no point. Why would you choose a
Might does make right, because might makes what is possible. So we stopped the Nazis not with ideas of being a pacifist. We stopped them with might. So we made right. Okay. Might doesn't necessarily make right. It decides who is left. It decides who gets to decide anything, and then immoral force is only stopped by counter force that hopefully is more moral, right? That's how reality works. Yeah, you're benefiting from the state, the security and safety of the state, right now in the room you're in. Yeah, and you don't seem to realise it. So, as George Orwell once said, pacifists are people who benefit from the violence of others. Yeah, so you're very similar to that.
losing side if that's how you see the world? But I don't think that. I don't think that's how you see the world.
It is how I see the world. Might does make right. Yeah, I do see. I admit it. So what? So you either admit it or you're lying. Yeah. It's just that simple. Again, property rights. You got property rights, right? I don't want to respect your property rights. How are you gonna stop me from disrespecting them? You're gonna have to use force.
Yeah,
Period.
exactly.
So you do believe in might makes right. You're full of shit.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
But anyway, basically I just wanted to clear the air that, like, there's more than one approach and they're not always in conflict. But yeah, I guess if specifically the only value you see in any anti-feminism is in setting up your specific kind of socialist political party, and then most of your posts, all I see is you guys bitching about how you're not getting enough support and attention. Well, yeah, you set your
Force. Okay, so I'm complaining about people not doing anything. That's my main complaint, because I want things to change, and if people don't do anything, nothing changes. Yeah, and again, you're using the word socialist like a dirty word. Okay, better show socialism than capitalism. Capitalism, right? You're a moral degenerate, moral relativist, right? Okay, you're a nihilist because you're a capitalist, right? I can do the same thing you do. Yeah, I can use Jordan Peterson style sound bites. Yeah.
real fucking narrow, and then you didn't even do a very good job of it because you just chose, like, mindless.
So he complains that we have our tent is too narrow when all we ask is like discipline, and he's like an AnCap who like he wants man's rights only with AnCap politics, but our tent is too narrow. Okay, bullshit.
Yes. Yes.
Like European.
Pause. The pause. The problem is he doesn't want us to have political parties, so he doesn't want us to do anything. Then, but what does he want us to do? So our tent's too narrow, but he actually wants to knock a tent down.
Yeah.
So of course we want to keep him out of our tent. Yes.
Yeah, he wants no tent.
And this is what these people are like, because we're just trying to stop hijackers and encourage men to just do stuff. But especially stop the hijackers.
And the thing is, we believe in principles, so we're not going to bend on those principles. So if we can't have the correct movement, I'd rather have no movement. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, these other approaches that he promotes here, they have already been tried and they failed already. They haven't achieved jack shit, right?
Yeah.
And and I mean, I can also say this, like, I actually like joined the ProMed Collective only like fairly recently, like 3 years ago or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what attracted me to it was actually this new approach, right? I see this collective approach, right? And this has shown me that it actually works because we are getting things done, right?
Yes.
We just need more people, okay? This approach that he promotes here, it doesn't get shit done.
Yes. Can I give a famous example of a broad tent approach that's a complete and utter failure and was completely defeated in every single way imaginable? One of the most humiliating defeats ever. It's Gamergate. They wanted to appeal to feminists, they wanted to appeal to right wingers, they wanted to appeal to left wingers, right? Okay. Like they raise money for women's charities to out feminist the feminists, right? Oh, they're the real misogynists, yeah. And look at gaming now. Look at gaming now. Completely defeated. Gamergate. Completely defeated.
Yeah.
Socialist garbage, because it's just the first fucking thing that.
Like, what does he even mean by? He doesn't even define what he means by what kind of socialism we supposedly promote. Like, does he mean like
socialism is?
Yeah,
he's politically illiterate. He doesn't know political theory, right? I'm not a fucking expert, but at least I've read it, man. Fucking, he doesn't know what the fuck.
Oh, these guys promote the idea that the government should build houses for the homeless. They're dirty socialists. These guys believe in universal health care. They're fucking socialists. He's probably like that.
Yes.
Came to your mind, and there's no deeper principle to it. That's how I see it. So that in terms of the broader idea, the broader kind of big tent sort of meta group that I'm conceiving of, I think that we've been approaching this totally the wrong way, okay? Feminism is...
Pause. You create your own movement, you create your own group, and outcompete us. Yeah? You do your own thing and see how far you get. I'm totally fine with that. Because you're not going to achieve anything. That's my prediction.
Isn't like an evil demon. It's more like a lich, right? But feminism isn't the lich. Feminism is merely one of the phylacteries. The phylacteries are Judeo-Christianity, Islamo bullshit, so the 3 Abrahamic religions, or as I just call them, the 3 Jewish religions. Feminism.
Pause. Okay. Pause. So he's making this about something else apart from feminism and misandry. He's just ranting on about religion now, which I don't give one single fuck about one way or the other. Right?
Yeah, it's a complete non sequitur. Yeah, he just has personal. He has a preference against these religions, and he mixes that personal preference into the politics of man's rights, which is irrelevant.
How would he get rid of religion in an AnCap society if he's against it? People would probably be more religious than ever in
Yeah,
AnCap society, actually.
it's
Whatever.
and also look at this contradiction, right? He says, "Oh, your guys are narrow-minded and you have a small tent approach." Yet he wants to go against freaking religion, which would deter
The three major religions. Three major religions he wants to go against. You know,
Yeah.
that's like 8% of the population of America.
Yeah,
Christians.
and this would deter men away from men's rights groups who are religious, right? So
Yes.
this is not a big tent approach. Like, what the fuck is he on about?
Yes. Yeah.
And all forms of statism or archism. I like that archists. It's the government, it's religion.
So, you know how vegans call us carnists as a derogatory term? Oh, we're just carnists.
This reminds me of that.
Meat. So, yes, so it's calling us status. It's just like calling us carnists. Yeah, the state. The thing is, you live in a state and you benefit from it, right? We all live in a state. We all live in a state. And you can't live outside the state. Period.
Yeah, and also, like, look how idiotic this is. He wants to get rid of feminism. How is this going to work without a state? Like, how the fuck are you going to get rid of feminism without outlawing it with the government? What the fuck?
Yes, it actually has to be out. It actually has to be outlawed because
Yeah.
we've seen it. Feminists informally network and take over companies and organisations all the time, and then they set up whisper networks. You drive men out of the companies, right, with false accusations and rumour spreading. Yeah, that's not the state. Yeah. Okay. But
Yeah.
when have I ever done a video on religion, one way or the other? I can't remember. Have I ever done a video on religion?
No. And I haven't either, and it's totally irrelevant one way or the other.
Yeah.
The only religious-related video that I think of is the City Crusher video refuting this feminist atheist mind shift about like Bible misogyny, but that was related to men's rights because he was using this atheist was using Christianity to basically demonize men and push like fake female victimhood narratives. So this was actually related to that. But otherwise, like we don't have to talk about religion. Like if you're pro-male, then you can be atheist or religion or religion or whatever, right?
Yes.
Doesn't matter to us.
It's the only videos on religion I've seen the Pro-Male Collective do. It's debunking the myth that the religions are misogynistic and patriarchal. That's
So we're actually defending. So in a way, we're sort of defending the religions from attack. When you think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's maybe why he hates us then. Okay, let's carry on.
It's feminism, right? That's the government, that's culture, that's the spirit. Sorry, I messed up the numbers there, but you get it. Those are the three phylacteries, largely speaking, and they need to all be destroyed simultaneously, because if you keep one of them intact, then it will revive.
We've got to get the nuclear weapons out then, basically. What is he on about?
I mean, this is pure lunacy at this point.
Yeah. Oh, no, now I see. Now I know why he wants an artificial womb. He wants to clone an army, right, to do all this. Yes, it all makes sense now.
So
My goodness.
So it can be Emperor Palpatine commanding an army of clones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Three-headed snake.
My goodness. Oh my god, what a clown.
The other ones, and it will keep the Lich alive. And the Lich is moral relativism. That's the Voldemort.
Moral relativism. So morals are subjective, right? and ethics is subjective. It's based on aesthetics, taste, preference, and there's some universal foundations to it because we've got a commonality in human nature, right? So the thing is, a lot of these right wingers who whinge on about moral relativism, right, are some of the most immoral people to ever exist because they support capitalism and right wing policies that kill and harm, right? So the capitalist system that you advocate for is genocidal. It's been genocidal in history. There's been times where it's killed absolute millions upon millions. Yeah, so I can call you a moral relativist just on that alone. Yeah, like property rights being enforced in island clearances in the land clearances in the UK or against Native Americans. They had property rights enforced on them as well. That killed and harms millions. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the profit motive has a huge death toll, right? And it's also like gatekeeping resources away from poor people around the world, which leads to starvation, right? So,
Yes. Yeah.
and I mean, he's just using big words like moral relativism in a pretentious manner, right?
Yes. It's an intellectual temper tantrum. No one seriously uses that term to criticise anyone. Anyway, it's just a Jordan Peterson tactic. So, and I've realised another contradiction as well. He called us Luddites, right? But he's raging against governments, a form of human organisation. So, literally, you can't have property rights and be an anarchist. So you'd have to revert back to tribalism, right? Okay. If you want, it's like you could call it anarcho-tradism. Like you just live in tribes, and the tribes trade with each other, and no one has any property rights, and you've got to live in big communal areas where everything is shared, right? Because if you've got any sort of property right, it's enforced, right?
Yeah, but in his mind, it's probably going to be enforced by some private police force that you can pay off or something. But what if you can't afford it, or what if, like, there's a rich capitalist buying off these private police forces and builds an army, becomes a dictator? Like,
That's the enemy. Because what you'll notice about all of these philosophies and all of these approaches is they just collapse into moral relativism. They just collapse into emotivist sophistry and fucking nonsense every single time. The only approach to political thinking that doesn't rely on ridiculous special pleading is anarcho-capitalist libertarian ethics, which is simply just a...
bullshit. I've already debunked it anyway, so...
Another way of using a bunch of positive sounding words to say, no, I reject politics because it's all terrorism categorically. And I don't care how many different...
Okay, the word... So you're technically correct, okay? Because terrorism is just violence with a political objective, okay? And if you include structural violence, organisations, entities enforcing rules, right? You could technically call that terrorism. But again, your system, anarcho-capitalism, if you ever got it to achieved it, it would have to be imposed by force anyway. Because other people would have different ideas and you'd bump up against them and you'd have to fight them. So it would be one big terroristic fight. Yeah? Okay? That's reality. You're so detached from reality. How old are you? Are you like 16 or something? I mean, you got to grow up.
Configurations of terrorism you can come up with, and I don't care how robust the history of your terrorism is, and I don't give a shit how uncreative and unmotivated and defeated and black-pilled your mindset is, that you've decided that there's absolutely no peaceful, voluntary alternatives to problems that...
Again, you're using the term voluntary, which AnCaps use a lot in a manipulative manner. Property rights are not voluntary. I didn't volunteer to live under the property rights system, under the capitalist system, so it's not voluntary. So I don't give a shit if it's voluntary or not. So yeah, if I had a way of using political organisation to throw feminism to the dustbin of history, and if the feminists fought back with violence, I would be fine with using violence against them. Yeah, I'm fine with using violence against Nazis. I'm actually quite comfortable with the Dresden bombing, for example, right? I think it's actually based that they got bombed, the smithereens, bomb Nazis, the smithereens.
Okay, we're back. We just got cut off there for a moment, so let's carry on.
Categorically. And I don't care how many different configurations of terrorism you can come up with, and I don't care how robust the history of your terrorism is, and I don't give a shit how uncreative and unmotivated and defeated and black-pilled your mindset is, that you've decided that there's absolutely no peaceful, voluntary alternatives to problems that, frankly, we already usually have historical precedents for anyway. I think it's just
There's no historical example of an AnCap society or AnCap solving historical problems. Like, what is he talking about?
Yeah.
Like, where are the success stories?
There's not even a historical precedent for a stateless society, in my opinion, unless you have to really go back to hunter gatherers, right?
Yeah.
Basically, but there's no historical precedent for it. I'm sorry. Like the anarchist Spain, parts of anarchist Spain, right, weren't really anarchist. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of was like some remote little town or village or something that existed somewhere, I think in Italy or something.
Yes.
And it was like 100 people, right? Like a very communal type village, and this didn't have like a real government or something, but it was basically tolerated by outside states, right? It existed at the mercy of other states. Okay,
Yes.
so any state could have just taken over any minute, right? It shows you how
Yes.
fragile this idea actually is.
Yes.
just pathetic and retarded, just to put it as bluntly as possible. And I will talk more about religion and why the three Jewish religions are pure fucking evil. Every single variant of them, every denomination, and I owe these fuckers nothing. I will treat a Jew, a Christian, and a Muslim exactly how I feel like treating them in the moment. No apologies, no anything. They chose.
I mean,
what if they decide to slap you? What if they decide to slap you in the face if you're rude to them? Right. You know what I mean?
And why does he hyperfixate on these three religions? Right?
Yes.
It's suspicious in my opinion.
It's just weird as well. Like, did he have a Christian daddy who used to spank him too hard or something? I don't know. Yeah.
A vile, evil, toxic worldview. They've chosen to worship the devil, who is Yahweh, an appropriated war goddess, and you know everything she says is a fucking lie. I made a video.
Pause. So, really, I'm an atheist, right? Okay. I'm not sure I've ever made a video proclaiming I'm an atheist. This is how unimportant it is to me. I'm an atheist, though, and I consider these all fictional characters. So to me, it doesn't matter what fictional character you worship or what the origin is of your fictional character, right? Okay, you can worship Spider-Man for all I fucking care. But why is he so fixated on this? Why?
Yeah, it's totally tangential. It has nothing to do with man's rights. He's just going off the rails, really.
Yes.
All about that too. The epiphany I had is that, you know, there's no Antichrist, there's many Antichrists, and that's what humanism is. When you become a humanist, you are part of this Antichrist project, because that's what it means to destroy the devil. The devil's greatest trick wasn't tricking people that
What? What's he saying? Bloody hell.
It's gibberish. Like, what? Okay. Like, what has humanism now to do with this? Right? I think it isn't humanism the idea that humans are important? Isn't it like a secular value system that he would actually have to support or something? I don't understand, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh.
It doesn't exist. The devil's greatest trick was convincing you that she is a man and that she is God. Her name's Yahweh, she's the fucking devil, we need to commit deicide immediately because she's fucking evil. I'll get more into that.
My goodness.
So if God's, let's say she does exist, how are we going to kill a god? Wouldn't she be like omnipotent or something? Or be like, I don't know.
Like this dude, like he's tripping, man. My goodness.
I'm getting. Go on.
No, you go ahead.
I'm getting 15-year-old edgelord energy from this guy.
Yeah.
Like,
but if you believed in God, would you want to start a fight with him or her? Right?
Maybe he has read Berserk, thinks the eclipse was real or something.
Yeah.
The theme, so you've been warned. Let's see. And of course, feminism. Do I even need to add anything, right? Of course we're taking pot shots at these entitled, narcissistic cunts. That's all they are. They've had a whole fucking century to get it right. And you want to know something? Every single time a woman has voted, it was an act of supremacy. Because if you're a person who has knowledge and empathy and a little bit of common sense, and you get the right to vote with special privileges, such as not being conscripted or drafted because of your sex, and it's supposed to be based on equality, well, I wouldn't vote for anyone who's not immediately going to correct that. Right? That should be issue number one.
Right. Well done. That's his first good point.
Wow.
Well done. Okay.
Let's carry on.
It's almost. I'm almost disappointed. I wanted the perfect run of bullshit throughout the entire video.
Oh.
he broke the combo. Yes.
Oh man.
Yes.
One, they've had nothing but opportunities to say that that's their most important thing. And what is their most important thing? They're gonna vote for Kamala Harris because the government estimated that you're so fucking stupid that all they had to do was like put a brown woman in front of you and you go for it. And that is how stupid you are. And you did go for it because you are that sexist and racist and pathetic.
Yes. The Democrat versus Republican American politics. How fucking fascinating and relevant to us, right? Jesus Christ. Can you imagine halfway through a video I just went on a spiel about the Labour Party and Keir Starmer and whoever's in charge of the Conservative Party, right? Like this. Can you imagine? Or you just went on a random spiel about German politics or whatever for like 5 fucking minutes. The equivalent of that, like, Jesus.
And how did this begin?
Right.
Like that we rejected. Yes. He got kicked out of Trevor's Discord. We rejected his AnCap nonsense. So how did it come to this point?
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Yes.
So here we are. Oh, and their number one issue, bodily autonomy. You know, as these women do literally nothing to prevent genital mutilation in their own countries. Yeah. No, history won't be kind to you bitches. Absolutely not. And, you know, they need a little tough love. They need...
Pause. How is MGM and things like abortion, how is that going to be prevented in an AnCap society?
Yes. You'd have to use force to stop parents from doing it.
Yeah, you have to outlaw it actually, but that's not going to be possible in an AnCap society.
Yes.
You just be told how it is to them. They need it told to them how it is.
I'm going to give the state a lot. Pause. I'm going to give the state a lot of credit. They've very, very effectively stopped FGM, where it's been outlawed, and they cracked down on it, and the parents stopped doing it. So that's a good example of a state being successful at stopping
Yeah,
child abuse.
exactly.
When it puts its mind to
Yeah,
it, yes.
yeah. I mean, in the AnCap society, because under AnCap philosophy, the child is basically the property of the parents or something, right?
Yeah.
So, like, how are the human rights of the child being protected, right? Like, how does
Mm.
this work in an ANCAP society, right?
Mhm.
What is going to prevent pro-cutter parents from harming their children?
Mhm.
So that's the main argument. This whole idea that property is theft, the concept of property is contained in the concept of theft. It's that simple, okay? That's a retarded idea. We do have property.
What? I don't even
And
understand what he's saying. Gee, it's giving me a headache. So property theft is subjective. Whether so basically, does that legitimately belong to you or not when it comes to property, right? So, but yes, property that you own is backed by the state, and that's why taking it from you is considered theft because it's yours by the state decree. Okay. Without a state, it would be the strongest person gets to decide who gets what, right? That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
this concept that, well, humans are social. Yeah, if you actually believe that, then you're an anarchist and anarcho-capitalist. You don't believe that, and that's why you need
Wow.
socialism imposed on people. Right? It's nothing but contradiction.
It's not contradiction, you fucking idiot. The state and your politics decides how you organise the social collective, right? What sort of how you have. It's not a fucking contradiction, you fucking moron.
Yeah, and
Jesus Christ.
also we know what human nature is like. We see that most people don't give a shit about men and boys, right? So
Yeah.
in an ANCAP society, those men and boys who are suffering, they would just continue to suffer. And like, can you imagine like them having to rely on voluntary donations or some shit like that? Like this would be an absolute
Yeah.
failure, right? At some point,
It's proven it's been proven they don't do it when it's done by
yeah,
voluntary donations. It's been proven they don't do it, so they don't
yeah,
want to do it. It's just an excuse not to pay, just to hoard from society and not give back. That's all.
yeah,
Then look at these Jewish religions. Honor thy father and mother. That rule can only benefit a dog shit piece of shit parent who just doesn't deserve honor. And that's been
yeah.
internalized.
Pause. So I don't understand why he's constantly saying Jewish religions, and
Yeah.
also,
Well, well, to be honest, I do. You can say the three major religions, Abrahamic religions, are just Jewish sects in a way. So he's sort of got a point there, but he's banging on about it a bit too obsessively for my taste, right?
yeah, it's a bit
Yeah.
sus, and also
Yeah.
the three Abrahamic religions. They're not the only religions that say honor your parents. Like this is a very common
Yeah.
thing in
Yeah.
pretty much in all religions that I know.
Yes. Yes.
People go into therapy and they say, oh, this must be issues with your mother. Well, you know what? Maybe that's a trope because mothers ain't shit. We look at human
Not long
history and
ago.
complementary.
Let's take a look. There's. It's just 2.5 more minutes of this. We're near the end.
Well, we might as well finish it then. But this is torture now for me. Oh fucking hell!
It's bullshit. What we did is we gave women the easiest jobs that they estimated were the least important. And that's teaching, nursing, caregiving. These are things that all humans should do, but because women have selfishly decided to make these like a career, they gatekeep the knowledge and they treat it like an expertise.
Pause. Okay, so there's two ways that feminists gatekeep jobs. They do it by the state with affirmative action, but they do it informally via whisper networks and ostracization. They actually push men out and they hire women over men as well. So you'd actually need state intervention to stop it, right? You literally the victory condition for an anti-feminist movement that's serious would be getting feminists labelled as a criminal gang, like a biker gang, and they wouldn't be able to meet up. They wouldn't be able to organise. They'll be disrupted, right? They'll be kept out of jobs. They'll be put on a blacklist. Yeah. So yeah.
We're doing this to help make them feel like they're actually contributing, right? And we just need to cut the fucking nonsense.
Ugh.
So yeah, I think teachers, nurses, and mothers are bullshit. And if I'm wrong, prove me wrong. We have yet to see a single generation of mothers who clearly love their children if they're male. I'm sure they feel a lot of emotions, but, when you let it get ideologically captured by one of these evil Jewish religions, that's a 0 multiplier, sometimes even a -1 multiplier. And, you can shoot the messenger all day, and that's kind of a lot of what responses to anti-feminists are, is they don't care about the problem, they don't understand the problem, they have no solution, they just want you to shut the fuck up.
I mean, you don't have any solution to feminism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just more of the same nonsense. Just go your own way, and do shit on your own or something.
Yeah. Yes.
The same shit.
Reduce the government.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's just gibberish, non sequitur, nothing burger. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean,
It's saying people are bad, stop being bad. He's going on about, but he's deeming the state immoral. It just exists, basically, right? It's just a fact of reality. And you got to come to fucking terms with it, or just live off in the woods on your own somewhere.
yeah, and like, these policies that he would call socialists, socialist, and these policies are actually helpful to men. Like, let's look at, for example, Finland. They have the government actually stepped in and built houses for the homeless, and it dramatically reduced the homelessness rate dramatically. They even called it a miracle, right? This is something that could help men, right? Where the government can help men, right? Because the vast majority of the homeless are men. So this is an example. Like, what kind of AnCap equivalent does he have for that, right? There's none.
Yes.
Well,
I'm just about done with this guy. Oh, sorry, you finished the video, sorry.
Shall we finish? I mean, it's 2 more minutes left. I don't think he says anything new. Alright, let's just play it.
Alright, then. Yeah.
I'm done shutting the fuck up. I took a nice break shutting the fuck up for a little while, and I got something to say. And if you got something to say, I say join me. But that's my approach, is if you're someone who's kind of sick and tired of people trying to tell you that your approach to helping men and boys needs to look or be a certain way, you might find kind of a space here. But, I'm taking pot shots where I do feel they're necessary, and I don't believe we're ever going to see a world that has care and compassion and concern for men and boys that also has a Christian religion, a Jewish religion, a Muslim religion, that which is called government, or any version of feminism. That's what I believe, and that's what I'm setting out to do, is to destroy all of these things at the same time, because I think that's the only way to
Delusional.
What? Fucking destroy them. Fucking hell. You can't destroy ideas anyway, oh my god.
Yeah, he's just spewing nonsense.
Yeah.
So
the lost half of humanism. So yeah, if you're along for the ride, I hope you stick with it. And I think we can have a lot of fun, and I think that we can all be friends. And, you know, I do wish the best for City Crusher and Pink and Yellow and A Shield for Men. I do hope that they can prove me wrong and establish their political socialist thing. It's just, I'm sorry, it's so retarded. Whatever. We're streaming later today. We're gonna stream later today.
So the Marxists, right? The Marxists, they're socialist retards. So they actually got shit done. They got a political party organised and they seized the state apparatus, and they were the second most powerful country in the world for decades. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean the idea is that we're just gonna we're just friends and we're just shooting the shit and we're just gonna vent endlessly. This is what he's offering, right? With no substance. Okay.
Yes.
And
Yes.
us working collectively, you know, and actually trying to change things on a political level, that is socialist to him. We're like, okay.
And he says we're negative and we're taking pot shots to incels or anything that's not communism, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just so. You, Trevor, and you, Shield, are the only ones actually criticizing the incel community, the manosphere as well, and like because every other so-called men's rights group embraces all these types of people, and so he's coming to us. He's bothered by our criticism. Like,
yeah, but he cannot refute our criticism, right? He's just, I don't like that. I don't like that. But he cannot actually refute what we are saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like even in the comment section.
And he's got he believes in a self-refuting ideology. Anyway, so it's worth it. So it's just a cock blocker. Like I said, his ideology was just designed to convince stupid, useful idiots not to do anything and not to organise, so the capitalist classes could advocate in their interests and brush the stupid working class right-wing men aside. It's worked, from what I can see as well. So
yeah. This is why his ideology is so harmful, because every type of collective political strategy that men have, a right-wing MRA would just say, "Oh, you're like the socialist, you're like the commies." You know, they have like this aversive reaction to that, like just instinctively, right, without thinking. That's the problem, right?
Like, it's just a mantra to them. We can't support collectivism. You know, you can't support pestering the government to get our issues met. It's
then you're literally a communist, Marxist, Leninist.
Yes,
according to these people.
I'm a Marxist Leninist. So I'm a Marxist Leninist. But I like my lemons. Actually, because it's 1 a.m. now. So I'm done with this.
It's just not fun dealing with these guys. It's just
no.
They're just cock blockers. They come to cock block the pro-male collective.
Yes. They're antisocial as well.
Yeah.
Look! I've got to say to this guy, if you want to do something useful, you can actually join us on our social media raids and signal boost us and report feminists off the internet. That's my offer to you. If you actually give a shit about anything, but I doubt you will. But anyway, I'm done.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.